vaccine passport to be specific. Vaccine passport has been a topic that people has talking about and has been a new hope for tourism industry. A lot of people hope that having a vaccine passport will help to bring in more tourists to any country that set up such a system. But what it is a documentation essentially, very likely an e-document in this increasingly digitized world to prove the holder has already been inoculated against a disease. In the current context, vaccine passports will focus on COVID-19, which has so far infected more than 110 million people and killed more than 2.4 million since first emerging in December 2019. Global agencies such as the International Air Transport Association are already busy developing vaccine passports or an equivalent. The concept is not new. The World Health Organization, or WHO's International Certificate of Vaccination or prophylaxis, also known as the yellow card, has been around for decades. The yellow card records vaccination against diseases such as yellow fever and is required for entry to several countries around the world, including Nigeria.
So the biggest question is whether it is necessary. The answer is, of course, a yes for Thai businesses such as hotels and airlines, many of which are on the verge of collapsing under the weight of the COVID-19 fallout. Social distancing and travel restrictions have left businesses across several industries teetering on the edge of failure. Thailand, where tourism accounted for 16% of gross domestic product in 2019, has been hit hard by the coronavirus. In response, the Tourism Authority of Thailand recently proposed luring back foreign tourists with new measures, including an offer to waive mandatory 14-day quarantine for those who can produce a vaccine passport. Faced with quarantine and other COVID-19 measures, only around 10,000 foreigners visited Thailand between October and December last year. The same period a year earlier saw more than 10 million foreign arrivals. But Thai tourism and related industries are now threatened by talk of extending the quarantine period. The CCSA recently suggested that it may be necessary to impose a 21-day quarantine on passengers arriving from Africa, where a fast-spreading variant of the virus is responsible for most COVID-19 cases.
And of course, Thailand still has doubts. So far, Disease Control Department Director General Opat Kankawinpong has rejected the idea of a COVID-19 vaccine passport, citing a lack of proof that inoculation completely prevents transmissions of disease. Although millions of people around the world have already been inoculated, research on the effectiveness of the vaccine is still in its early stages. Like the latest report by AFP today said that Pfizer will be 85% effective after 2 to 4 weeks of inoculation. So between then, you're still at very high risk of getting infected, as the same as people that didn't get inoculated.
Of course, and there are also other concerns as well. So besides the health issues, some critics say vaccine passports are a bad idea because they would deepen inequalities across the world, since people in many countries will have to wait years and years for their jabs. So far, only about 100 million of the world's 7.78 billion people have been vaccinated against COVID-19. But in Thailand, no jabs have been offered yet. If a vaccine passport is required for entry to flights, hotels, or big entertainment or sports events, millions of unvaccinated people would be left behind. Others say that introducing vaccine passports risks exacerbating discrimination based on race, nationality, or wealth via access to smartphones. And apart from this, there are also privacy concerns that have also been raised.
But there are a number of countries that are embracing vaccine passports. Despite this concern, several countries are keen to adopt COVID-19 vaccine passports idea. Denmark is planning to introduce a coronavirus vaccination passport before the end of this month, while neighboring Sweden has announced plans to follow suit. For air travel, Qantas Emirates and Etihad Airlines will require vaccine passports soon, while UK-based Saga Cruises has made COVID-19 vaccination mandatory for anyone boarding its ships. Greece, too, is now encouraging the European Union to push ahead on a common vaccination certificate as part of a fast-track lane for travelers.
So that is definitely going to be on the debate until they can actually finalize whether they could use the vaccine passports as